Hey everyone, this is Booger with the Lazy Opinionated Punks. I know we normally do this in front of the camera, but I just feel more comfortable doing it on the microphone this time. So where do I begin? I mean, I know this is a touchy subject, and a lot of people are going to label me racist and misogynist just for saying so, but here it goes. White and male privilege don't exist. And to say it does divides us and impedes social progress. Here's the thing. Everyone has privileges and advantages, and everyone has problems. Now, I know what the counter argument is here, but let's take a moment to dig deeper into that statement. When you are around like-minded people, others that look like you, act like you, have common interests, people who relate to you in general, you feel more comfortable and act accordingly. And your demeanor changes when you're around people you don't relate to so much. That's the extent of racial privilege. People by human nature gravitate toward people we relate to, including race. Of course, we can go against that nature in different areas and come together through other relatable traits besides race. But ultimately, you get along well and feel more comfortable around people with who you have common interests and relatable traits. If you are white and you are in a room full of only white people, the only white privilege you would have is that you won't be discriminated against for your race. However, you can very well be discriminated against for a number of other things. Just not race, because in that situation, it is the one sure thing you would all have in common. This scenario is true of any race or gender. Now, to address the common rebuttal to my original statement, sure, we all have problems, but minorities experience more, and white people experience privileges that minorities don't, such as police brutality and unequal pay when it comes to gender, etc. And I fully agree that these things happen. I can't deny that. But it's because of racist and sexist people, which are not the norm. You can't take bad examples and say that is the state of society as a whole. If you are dealing with a racist or sexist person and you are of the same race or gender as them, then yeah, you have gender or racial privilege, but only with that individual. Yes, there are a lot of racist people in this country, but you have to consider that this country has over 324 million people. If even 1% of the population was racist or sexist, that's still 3.24 million people. The chances of you encountering a racist or sexist person are significant, but not at all reflective of the vast majority of the population. So the equation racist white people exist, therefore all white people have privilege, doesn't add up. The problem is not society, but individuals within society. I agree that even one racist or a sexist person is too many, but realistically, we will never achieve complete eradication of racism and sexism. There will always be racist and sexist people. Is there a solution to minimize the problem? I suggest two possible solutions. Teach our children to be open and accepting of other people's differences and to be kind, courteous, and mindful of others. They will grow up to pass the sentiment down to their children and so on, teaching others and making every generation better. I doubt anyone listening who has children don't already instill these values. 2. Deal with racism and sexism on an individual, person-to-person, situation-to-situation basis. When you see discrimination, speak up to the individual in question. The same if you see discrimination in an institution. These are all things I'm sure many of you already do, but we can't point the blame at one race or one gender. The problem doesn't fall on all or even most of either. When you do that, you alienate people who have done nothing wrong, people who would be your allies. It's not fair, reasonable, or productive to shame the entirety of a certain people for the actions of the few. Now to address the unpleasant and stubborn people who scoff at the notion that any white man could ever be discriminated against, and any example I give is met with boo-hoo, you have problems, you also have privilege. Well, I think I covered the concept of privilege pretty well, and you may disagree, but please consider the following, as I think it bears relevance. Yes, this will include personal experiences and such, but I have a point. It's not meant to be a sob story, as I'm sure some of you would push it aside to be. But there have been many times in my life where I have been considered incompetent or stupid because I'm a boy. Where was my male privilege then? There have been plenty of times in my life where I've been called a stupid white boy and a cracker just for walking down the street. Did I have white privilege then? Despite these experiences, I certainly don't take them to mean that all black people are racist, nor that all women are sexist and hate men. But it goes to show that anyone of any race or gender can be racist or sexist, and that anyone of any race or gender can be a victim of racism or sexism. Anyone and everyone, no matter of race or gender, is just as capable of being mistreated as anyone else. No one is special. Furthermore, I have always done my best to treat others fairly and equally. I judge people only by their actions and the content of their character, and I have harmed no one outside of self-defense. I have been charitable, considerate, and kind to people of all races, genders, and sexualities, etc. I have worked hard for what I have and have never expected anything extra from anyone, and I have only ever accepted help from others when I was desperate and truly needed it. I have always been happy to help others in need, no matter their race, gender, or what have you. I am no one's enemy, yet after stating these exact words on a Facebook reply, I still get rude comments from hateful people like, "Oh, what do you want, a cookie?" How condescending and hypocritical can you be? Don't get me wrong, they are entitled to their opinion, but the lack of consideration is beyond me. I do my best to be a good person. I show all the respect, kindness, and consideration that you are advocating for to all people. The very point of your movement, the very ideology that you yourself support and aim to overall achieve, and you say, who cares? Just because I'm white and have a dick? The very act of profiling and discriminating you are actively against? This is why so many people can't take you seriously. You hate and discriminate just as much as those you oppose. I, for one, see through your bigotry. I have nothing to apologize for, as I have done nothing wrong. And if you think for a second that I owe you or anyone else anything, currently or for a past that I had nothing to do with, you are mistaken. And if you want to fight someone who's entitled and self-righteous, look no further than the mirror. I'm Booger with the Lazy Opinionated Punks. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, and if you haven't already, subscribe. Thank you.